Feel the Colosseum awaken. Banners snap. Drums rumble. Rome gathers today to witness glory, blood, and destiny. Picture a blazing Mediterranean sun over imperial Rome. Banners snap in the warm breeze. Thousands surge through marble gates. Men and women, rich and poor, senators in dyed togas and street vendors clutching figs, all eager for the Munera, the Gladiator games, spectacles that blend theater, blood, and belief into a single roaring symphony destined to echo long after the final trumpet fades. Long before the Colosseum's arches crowned the skyline, these contests were lit only by torches at gravesides. Romans believed that blood spilled beside a tomb soothed restless spirits, and what began as a grim gift for the dead evolved, century by century, into state-sponsored festivals backed by emperors eager to project power and piety. Sponsoring games erased scandals, bought votes, and celebrated distant victories, turning private grief into public narrative. For the crowd, the games were excitement. For the elite, they were propaganda. Staging a lavish show shouted, "I am generous, I am Roman, I deserve your loyalty." Each bout dramatized Rome's core virtues: fortitude, discipline, endurance, and reminded citizens that conquest and order came at a price paid in flesh. Even the arena's architecture, concentric benches rippling around a central stage, symbolized a universe with Rome at its heart. Each deep rumble of applause renewed the bond between ruler and ruled, performer and observer, fusing politics, religion, and entertainment into one. A full day in the amphitheater followed a strict rhythm. Dawn opened with venaciones. Trained bestiarii dodged leopards, boars, even imported giraffes. Mid-morning delivered damnatio ad bestias, public executions that turned crime and punishment into cautionary theater. At noon, when the sun blazed white, the crowd demanded the main event: gladiator against gladiator, muscle against metal, hope against probability. Victories were bookmarks in stories retold at taverns long after twilight. Patrician senators and shoemakers' apprentices sat in different tiers, yet gasped in unison when steel met skin. Inside the oval, social ranks dissolved. The arena was Rome distilled. Fighters came from prisoners, slaves, and daring volunteers, the Octorati, who signed away legal status for prize money and the chance to hear their names chanted by 50,000 throats. They trained like modern athletes, drilling footwork, building stamina, and even learning how to die convincingly if the worst occurred. First among the heavy icons strode the hoplomachus, crested helmet, small round shield, spear that darted like a serpent. Every movement echoed the disciplined phalanx of his Greek ancestors. Opposite him lumbered the murmillo, shield broad as a door, crest shaped like a gleaming fish, representing the Roman legionary, steady, unstoppable. Their duel displayed measured footwork, shields that breathed, spears traded for swords when distance collapsed and sweat hissed on steel. Variety electrified the crowd when the scissor appeared, arm encased in a cylindrical guard tipped by twin crescent blades. He hacked, hooked, and pinned with brutal economy a living siege engine. Facing him, or sometimes the smooth-helmeted secutor, stood the retiarius, bareheaded, fleet-footed, armed only with a weighted net, trident, and dagger. He was the fisherman casting order into chaos, trying to ensnare his foe before a fatal rush. Speed battled power. Protection met reach. Every feint hovered a heartbeat from triumph or ruin. Occasionally, an editor, the producer of the games, staged provocator versus provocator. Both fighters wore breastplates and identical gear, battling as equals. These mirror matches were duels of method, not mismatch. who fainted better, who timed the shield bash, who recovered fastest after a ringing blow. They reassured spectators that honest, rules-bound combat still existed in a brutally unequal world, if only for a few heartbeats. Some contestants pushed spectacle to extremes. The Crupularius was sheathed head to toe in solid iron, a walking fortress whose every step rang like a hammer. Agile opponents danced around him, waiting for exhaustion. The Andabata fought blind, slashing in darkness while the crowd howled at each near miss. Dimacheri swung twin swords in flashing arcs. Laquiari snapped lassos to yank rivals off balance. Novelty kept the audience restless and kept coins flowing into the editor's ledger. With politics, public mood, and the need for drama, every pairing told a miniature war story. The Hoplomachus evoked Greece, Rome's cultural tutor. The Murmillo embodied the empire itself. The lightly armed Retiarios suggested border fishermen. The Secutor, smooth and relentless, stood for disciplined militarism. By applauding the winner, Romans symbolically applauded civilization over barbarism, order over disorder, Rome over the world. In the 3rd century, another narrative infiltrated the stands. Christians, preaching the sanctity of every soul, denounced the games as the game. Homicide disguised as sport. Tertullian thundered that watching bloodshed stained the spirit. Bishops warned that the roar of the crowd drowned the whisper of conscience. Some believers boycotted. Others, arrested for their faith, were hurled into the arena as execution victims, becoming anti-spectacles. Martyrs who died praying instead of fighting. Their calm defiance unnerving pagan spectators and scribes alike. Eyewitnesses carried these stories along every sea lane and caravan road. Soon, the tales of Christians meeting lions with hymns on their lips flickered in hearthside chatter from Carthage to Cappadocia. By AD 313, Constantine legalized Christianity, and power began to shift. Subsequent imperial edicts curbed public executions and steadily curtailed mortal combat, replacing many duels with blunted weapons or costumed pageants. Yet popular appetites proved stubborn, and some cities clung to the old brutality for decades. In 404, after a monk named Telemachus leapt into an arena to halt a fight, and was stoned by the crowd, his blood mingling with that of the gladiators he sought to save, Emperor Honorius at last banned gladiatorial combat in the West. All materials have been developed under the Erasmus Plus program as part of the S.P.Q.R. project. This project is carried out by a wide partnership of esteemed organizations, with the Interactive Bulgaria Foundation serving as the project coordinator. Other partners include Mos Maiorum Ulpiae Serdicae and the National High School for Ancient Languages and Cultures, Konstantin Kirill Filosov from Bulgaria, the European Schools Brussels IV from Belgium, Associatia Culturala Tomis from Romania, Familia Gladiatoria Egyesulet from Hungary, and Geza Frank from Austria. In addition, 18th High School Sofia and Dwolf Studio from Bulgaria are contributing as associated partners. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to exploring more of history's fascinating chapters together.